Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a genuinely fascinating, data-backed experiment to figure out what actually builds financial stability in today's gig economy. We're looking at a grueling 8-month real-world test of 10 different side hustles to finally separate genuine income from all that internet noise. Let's get right into it. Okay, so let's just cut straight to the chase. Out of the 10 different side hustles tested over those 8 months, honestly, most of them completely failed. Just totally flopped. But a few were incredibly surprising, and one in particular unexpectedly pulled in a peak of $600 in a single month. No joke. You know, the motivation behind this source material is something so many of us can relate to. When your standard 9 to 5 barely covers the monthly bills and you just know that a single emergency expense could collapse your entire financial ecosystem, you really have to ask yourself a critical question. In an absolute sea of get-rich-quick fluff online, what actually works? So here's our roadmap for today. 1. The 8-month experiment. 2. The unexpected winners. 3. The high-effort grinds. 4. The low-yield disappointments. And 5. The final realities. Section 1. The 8-month experiment. Real tracking, real numbers. So, picture this timeline. It starts at month 1 with absolute financial vulnerability, literally zero extra buffer in the bank. Fast forward to month 4, and the experiment is in full swing, aggressively testing 10 distinct hustles all at the exact same time. It's chaos. And finally, we arrive at month 8, where the real numbers were crunched to reveal a grand total of $3,200. But how did we actually get to that number? That brings us to Section 2, the unexpected winners, the ones with the highest earning potential. The absolute biggest shock of the entire experiment was this dead simple 3-step process. The tester started with incredibly basic, existing Facebook pages, like nothing special at all. But by leveraging AI, using ChatGPT to generate all the daily posts, the schedules, the audience targeting, it transformed into a literal income machine. It eventually earned even more than traditional freelance work. Wild, right? Now, our second winner was freelance writing. But listen, this was absolutely not an overnight success story. This hustle required pushing through a painfully slow start with literally zero traction and stomaching just countless initial rejections. However, the persistence did pay off. Eventually, they landed a recurring client and secured a very stable $50 per article. Section 3. The high-effort grinds, trading serious time for actual cash. Let's talk about delivery apps like DoorDash. You look at the gross income and think, hey, not bad. But once you factor in those hidden costs, the gas, the massive wear and tear on your car, and those grueling long hours, the actual real-world earnings plummet to just around $11 an hour. Definitely a grind. And there are 3 other serious grinds from the experiment you really need to know about. First up, resale flipping. Buying stuff from thrift stores. It has a steep learning curve, you'll make mistakes, but it does pay out good money when you actually hit on the right items. Then there's virtual assistant work. The tasks themselves are pretty calm and simple, but the absolute hardest part is just finding that first client. Finally, online tutoring. It pays a decent $18 an hour and feels incredibly meaningful, but you are constantly battling these totally unpredictable gaps in your schedule. Moving on to Section 4, the low-yield disappointments. Basically, hype versus reality. $47. Print on demand is constantly touted online as this magical, easy passive income stream. But the reality? Well, after months of grueling effort, without having pre-existing high-level design skills and serious marketing chops, it yielded a downright depressing total of $47. That's barely enough for a decent dinner out. The hype just absolutely does not match the reality here. And here is exactly why some of the other popular recommendations felt completely flat. User testing websites? Highly inconsistent. You might make $175 one week and absolutely zero the next. Microtasks, like tagging images, pay these tiny fractional amounts that require immense, exhausting consistency to add up to anything real. And selling digital templates? Completely useless if you don't already have an audience to sell them to. Without followers, it's just crickets. Finally, Section 5, the final realities, and the clear truth about alternative income. When you look at this breakdown of the $3,200 earned over the 8 months, it's blatantly obvious that the total was not split evenly. A massive chunk of the pie was carried by just a few winning strategies, namely those Facebook AI pages and the steady freelance writing. Most of the other efforts barely even register. They're just tiny slices. Now, when you average out that total, it comes to about $400 extra a month. Let's be real. Earning an extra $400 a month isn't life-changing buy a yacht money. But going from a $0 buffer to having an extra $400 a month, that is absolutely stability-changing when unexpected emergencies inevitably hit. I think the biggest, most profound lesson from the source material is summarized brilliantly right here. If you try everything at once, you'll quit everything. But if you focus, you build something real. Trying to run 10 different side hustles simultaneously is a guaranteed recipe for burnout. Success isn't about finding the one perfect, magical hustle. It's about finding the one that actually fits your specific life and sticking with it long enough to see the results. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this vital question to ponder. Instead of chasing every new internet trend, what single pursuit will you focus on to genuinely alter your financial reality? Thanks so much for joining me today, and keep focusing on what actually matters. See you next time.